In this application section we're going to develop a typical rock groove using Quavers. We're going to write music for drums, guitar and bass and see how each of them uses Quavers in their part to develop the overall rock feel.
So the first thing we can see here when we look at creating our rock beat is the drum sequencer window, just as we looked at in box 1.8, with the ruler bar at the top marking out the bars and the beats and the different drums available to us down the left hand side of the page here. We're going to start out by marking out a 1 bar repeating area, so we can create a 1 bar repeating drum pattern, and then later we'll copy paste that to create a 4 bar pattern. So the first drum we're going to add again is the hi-hat, which is going to play on every quaver. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's have a listen to the pulse that creates. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we'll place a bass drum on beat 1 and beat 3 and a snare drum on beat 2 and beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And now I'm just going to copy paste that pattern onto the other 3 bars. So we have a 4 bar repeating pattern overall. We'll increase the loop area to incorporate all 4 of those bars. And then here's our 4 bar repeating rock drum pattern. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're now in a different window of this program, and we can see the 4 bar drum pattern that we've just created represented by this big orange rectangle here. So now we have that 4 bar pattern as a block of music which we can move around and do all kinds of things with. And we can start to line it up against the other parts of our groove, the guitar and the bass, which we'll start looking at now.
So now we go on to the bass part. If you have a look on page 57, you can see that the bass is playing straight quavers all the way through. So 1 and 2 and 3 and so on, like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
So here you can see that bass part represented on the screen by this big blue rectangle taking up 4 bars in exactly the same way as the drum part did. What we're going to do is listen to that bass part first of all on its own and then add the drums back in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we'll bring back in the drums. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
You can see on page 57 that the guitar is going to play exactly the same quaver rhythm that the bass did. Like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
So here we can see that guitar part represented by this green rectangle and lined up with the drum part and the bass part. Once again, what we'll do is play the guitar on its own to begin with and hear it in isolation, and then bring back in the drums and the bass. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now the other instruments. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. If you look on the bottom of page 58, you can see that we can add some extra drum hits into our drum pattern to give it some variety. So I'm going to program in those extra hits exactly as it shows on the line of music at the bottom of page 58. And let's see what that does to our drum pattern. And now let's listen to that drum pattern with the added hits when we add in the other instruments as well. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now the bass, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and lastly the guitar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now all of that is actually quite slow for a rock beat, so what we've done is to record everything a bit faster so we can hear the whole groove a bit more up tempo. Once again, I'll start off with the drums and then we'll bring each instrument in one at a time.